Recently, actor Philip Seymour Hoffman was found dead of an apparent heroin overdose in his apartment. Many people have different feelings about that based on his body of acting work, as well as the responsibility factor there. But Lionsgate has come up with some interesting news regarding his work on Mockingjay Part 2, which would be the last film in the Hunger Games 4-movie series. So apparently he had done all of his filming and had only 1 week left and just one crucial scene left to film. Their idea right now, apparently according to an insider, is to just use CG to record that final scene.
Yeah, so there's lots of things that you could do in this instance, and they're tossing around lots of different ideas. Like, in the scene in question, you focus on who he's talking to instead of him talking. You can use clever camera tricks. You can use, footage that you've already shot and try to stitch it together. You could use body doubles, or you could also computer generate his face.
What do they do with his voice, though?
You can stitch together stuff from his enormous body of work. You can have a Philip Seymour Hoffman impersonator. He's got that distinct voice that is not terribly difficult to impersonate. I'm sure someone can handle it. Mm-hmm. The question that gets raised in this article is sort of how this is going to be handled going on from here and the moral implications of that.
Yes. See, in the past we've seen some actors have died during production of a film or television show and have been replaced somehow with CG, or in certain cases removed altogether. Is that okay? Is it weird or disrespectful to put an actor's likeness in a work after they're already dead? Or is it due? Is it owed, their commitment to the project?
That's a fine line to walk, because a lot of people have spent a lot of money on a movie. And when someone dies, whether it be from an overdose or natural causes or what have you, that money cannot just be lost. It cannot be wasted. They have an obligation to all the people that they're paying and all the work they've done so far to finish what they started.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that disrespects the memory of the person who died. Sometimes it honors the memory of the person who died. There's a lot of examples of this. So here are some of the more famous ones. Marilyn Monroe died during production of Something's Gotta Give.
Okay.
That movie was scrapped altogether. They never finished it. It's just a few scenes filmed on film reel on a cutting room floor. Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee both died during productions of The Crow and of Game of Death. In both instances, they finished the movie with body doubles. Famously, Bruce Lee's body doubles don't look anything like him. But
just an Asian guy.
There's just an Asian guy in a yellow jumpsuit. Yeah, so it goes. River Phoenix died during the production of Dark Blood. That movie didn't come out for 20 years, but it was just recently released on YouTube, just so that people could see what they had shot and what was there. Heath Ledger died during the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and they finished that movie by casting 3 people in that role in addition to what they had shot with Heath Ledger.
It seemed like it was kind of a respectful memorial to him.
Yeah, that fit with the theme, like the hallucination and the kind of whimsical, magical nature of the film, for that actor to change throughout the course of the film. Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Colin Farrell finished that for him. John Candy's last film was Wagons East, and in that film they just reused footage that they had already shot with him and a body double for like the back of his head. And there were a whole bunch of scenes of him just like silently nodding and agreeing
while
instead of saying lines. So that's how they did it. He was actually supposed to be in Pocahontas as a talking turkey, but then they not only cut that role, but the dialogue of all the animals.
Well, that movie changed a lot over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the one closest to, I think, what they want to do for the Hunger Games was Gladiator, because Oliver Reed died in the middle of that, and they spent a few million more dollars to digitally render him to finish all the scenes they hadn't done.
So I feel like the theme here is, in the past they didn't really do it, but in the present, now that we have the technology, we do. But should we? We can, but should we?
Yeah, now this article also talks about insurance companies in the future might require actors to go through full facial scans before production.
Even if they're not in a CGI movie.
Right, so that in case they are like high risk to maybe die during production actors, then we'll be able to finish this movie without you. Now that brings up all new kinds of questions, like what if it's just a disagreement between the actor and the director, or the actor and the producer, and they're like, I can't work with this guy anymore, we'll just finish his shots with the CG recording that we've already done against his will.
Well, why not just make an entire movie that way?
You could, then that gets expensive.
Does that kind of just diminish the role of acting in movies?
That's a thought that I had. Now, of course, the most obvious solution for this instance, for Philip Seymour Hoffman, is to bring Tom Cruise in to wear that Philip Seymour Hoffman mask, like in Mission Impossible 2 or 3? 3. Mission Impossible 3. Obviously, it was so convincing as Philip Seymour Hoffman. I don't see any other possible explanation.
How it was made. No. So their idea right now is to continue the movie, not to recast him, not to cut him out.
There's only one scene left.
Yeah, so they're just going to digitally insert him and
or
maybe
rewrite
rework
the scene, or rework it, or a body double, or they haven't decided yet. But they are definitely finishing that movie, and they're definitely gonna, full steam ahead.
Do you feel that's disrespectful at all, though? Like, I mean, there's certain commercials in the past that had Fred Astaire and them dancing, and Orville Redenbacher talking about popcorn. Their likenesses, these people had been long dead and had not given consent to this. That made me feel very strange. But is this on the same level, or is it completely different due to not only circumstances of death, but also due to obligations contractually?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are shitty situations where likenesses were used without informing the estate or paying the estate of the deceased. I don't know if Fred Astaire's family got money for that Hoover commercial, whatever it was. Philip Seymour Hoffman was under contractual obligation to finish that movie. His death is a breach of contract, so they'll do what they have to do to finish it. They don't need permission from anyone to finish some other way.
All right. I wonder how audience members would feel, though.
You know what, like for Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight was, and Dr. Parnassus was, I have a feeling it will be more, remembering fondly the work he did in his final role, other than saying, that's definitely not Seymour Hoffman, I can tell from here. I don't see that being the reaction in audiences, but I could be wrong.
You might be.
I often am.
Yeah, you are. But what do you think? Is it weird to use a dead actor's likeness in a film, or is it actually is it necessary? Is it due? Let us know what you think, and if you are going to go see those final works, and please be sure to subscribe.